What if I told you that in 1941, Henry Ford built a car 10 times stronger than steel that could run on farm fuel? Or that scientists discovered bacteria that can eat plastic in weeks instead of 450 years? These are not conspiracy theories. These are real discoveries that were systematically buried. By the end of this video, you will understand why the world you live in is not shaped by the best technology, but by the technology that threatens the fewest billionaires. In 1941, Henry Ford took a sledgehammer and slammed it into his newest car. The body did not dent because it was made from hemp plastic, 10 times stronger than steel and 1,000 pounds lighter. Ford envisioned a future where cars were grown on farms, not mined from the earth. The fuel was hemp ethanol. The body was hemp plastic. The interior was hemp fiber. But in 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act killed hemp cultivation in America. DuPont had just invested millions in synthetic plastics and nylon. If hemp became standard, their empire would collapse. Andrew Mellon, DuPont's director, was Secretary of the Treasury. His niece was married to Harry Anslinger, head of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. Suddenly, a massive propaganda campaign made no distinction between industrial hemp and marijuana. Hemp cultivation became economically impossible. Ford's car was dismantled. DuPont's synthetic materials faced no competition. And we got 80 years of plastic pollution instead. Number 9. The eternal light bulb. There is a light bulb in Livermore, California, that has been burning for over 120 years. It proves something the industry does not want you to know. Light bulbs can last forever. In 1924, the world's major manufacturers formed a cartel called Phoebus. Their goal was to engineer bulbs to fail at exactly 1,000 hours. Before this, bulbs lasted 2,500 hours or more. Some experimental ones lasted over 100,000 hours. But long-lasting bulbs meant fewer sales. Companies that made durable bulbs were fined. The cartel's documents, discovered decades later, revealed systematic engineering of failure. They literally penalized quality. This became the blueprint for planned obsolescence across every industry: appliances, electronics, clothing. Everything was designed to fail, so you would keep buying. Even modern LED bulbs, rated for 50,000 hours, are engineered to fail far sooner than they could. In the 1940s, America had the world's best electric streetcar system. Los Angeles alone had over 1,000 miles of track, moving hundreds of thousands of people daily. Clean, efficient, and profitable. Then General Motors, Firestone Tire, and Standard Oil created a front company called National City Lines. They bought streetcar systems in over 45 cities and systematically destroyed them. The pattern was always the same: defer maintenance, let the system deteriorate, claim it is outdated, replace electric streetcars with diesel buses, rip up the tracks, and sell the copper wire. The diesel buses were objectively worse, slower, less comfortable, and more polluting, but they required gasoline and tires. In 1949, the conspirators were convicted. General Motors was fined $5,000. The executives were fined $1 each. They had destroyed billions in infrastructure. Los Angeles transformed from a transit paradise to a car-dependent sprawl. The damage was irreversible. Number 7. The unbreakable stockings. When DuPont developed nylon stockings in 1940, they were revolutionary. Early versions lasted for months without damage. Women loved them, and DuPont panicked. Internal memos show executives worrying about market saturation. If stockings lasted too long, women would stop buying. The solution was to make them weaker. The company reduced the fiber thickness, creating a more sheer appearance that snagged and ran at the slightest touch. After World War II, when production resumed, women noticed the difference immediately. Post-war stockings were far more fragile. But DuPont controlled the market. Their advertising campaigns normalized fragility, teaching women that runs were inevitable. Modern athletic wear proves synthetic fibers can last for years. Stockings remain fragile, not because they have to be, but because that is more profitable. In the 1970s, researchers developed closed-loop farming systems, livestock waste-powered biogas digesters. That output became fertilizer. Food waste fed animals. Water was recycled through aquaponics. These farms could produce food, energy, and fertilizer with almost zero waste and minimal external inputs. For Monsanto and Cargill, this was an existential threat. If farms became self-sufficient, who would buy their fertilizers, pesticides, and feed? The response was regulatory capture. Food safety laws prohibited feeding processed food waste to animals. Environmental regulations required expensive permits for biogas systems. Zoning laws separated different types of agriculture. The cumulative effect made integrated farming nearly impossible to operate legally. Meanwhile, industrial agriculture faced fewer barriers. The system that could have freed farmers was regulated out of existence. In the 1930s, Royal Rife developed a microscope that used light frequencies, and he claimed it could observe viruses at impossible magnifications. More controversially, he said electromagnetic frequencies could destroy pathogens without harming human tissue. In 1934, a USC clinical study on terminal cancer patients reported 14 of 16 cured. Then everything collapsed. Rife's lab was vandalized. Equipment was destroyed. Research was buried. Scientists who had supported him suddenly distanced themselves. Morris Fishbein, head of the AMA, allegedly tried to buy Rife's technology. When Rife refused, Fishbein worked to systematically destroy his reputation. Whether the device actually worked remains controversial. Destroying lab equipment is not normal scientific skepticism. If Rife's frequency treatments had worked, they would have fundamentally threatened the pharmaceutical industry. His work was never properly evaluated, just erased. Number 4. The bacteria that eat plastic. In 2016, Japanese researchers discovered bacteria that had evolved to eat PET plastic. They could break down bottles in just 6 weeks, when those bottles normally take 450 years to decompose. Through genetic engineering, they created improved versions that worked even faster. This was revolutionary. the world produces 380 million tons of plastic annually. A biological solution could transform waste management. Then development mysteriously stalled. Funding dried up. Grant applications were rejected. Corporate partnerships fell through. The recycling industry has billions invested in infrastructure that would become obsolete. Chemical companies making virgin plastic would face decreased demand. The oil industry, which supplies 8% of production for plastics, stood to lose billions. In 2020, researchers announced a version 6 times faster. There was brief media attention, and then silence. A discovery that could eliminate plastic pollution remains underdeveloped while the crisis grows exponentially. Number 3. The soil revolution. In the 1940s, researchers discovered that mycorrhizal fungi could increase crop yields by 20 to 40% while eliminating the need for synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. These fungi form symbiotic relationships with plant roots, expanding their root system by orders of magnitude. Plants grew larger, healthier, and more disease-resistant. For Monsanto and DuPont, this was catastrophic. Their business model depended on selling chemicals every season. Their response was brilliant and insidious. Instead of suppressing the research openly, they promoted farming practices that destroyed mycorrhizal networks, including deep tilling that breaks up fungal connections, monocropping that starves beneficial fungi, and synthetic fertilizers that are toxic to the fungi. Agricultural colleges received funding from chemical companies. Textbooks emphasized chemical inputs. By the 1980s, American agriculture was completely dependent on synthetic chemicals, partly because those chemicals destroyed the natural systems that made them unnecessary. Number 2. The instant construction system. In the 1970s, engineers developed foam concrete that could build houses in days. A crew of 3 could spray polyurethane foam over an inflatable form, creating walls, roof, and structure in one continuous piece. Construction time dropped from months to days. Labor requirements fell 60 to 70%. The houses were stronger, better insulated, and disaster-resistant. Tests showed they could withstand hurricanes and earthquakes. Owners reported dramatically lower energy costs. The construction industry mobilized immediately. Building codes added requirements that made foam construction impractical. Labor unions lobbied against it because fewer workers were needed. Insurance companies charged higher rates or refused coverage. Material suppliers funded research aimed at finding problems. The few foam houses built have performed excellently for decades, but regulatory and economic barriers prevent broader adoption. Number 1. The reusable packaging system. In the 1980s, European companies developed comprehensive reusable packaging for consumer goods. Standardized containers were designed to be used hundreds of times. Consumers paid deposits, returned empties, and received refunds. Pilot programs reduced packaging waste by over 90%, while remaining economically viable. Then the plastic and packaging industries launched campaigns claiming reusable containers were unsanitary. They lobbied for regulations that made reusable systems legally complex. The packaging industry generated billions of dollars from single-use containers. If reusable packaging became standard, demand would collapse. the petroleum industry joined the opposition because plastic packaging consumes significant oil. Food safety regulations required extensive documentation for each container. Liability rules made manufacturers responsible for contamination anywhere in the chain. Insurance costs became prohibitive. Cities that invested in recycling infrastructure opposed systems that would make their facilities obsolete. Today, single-use packaging dominates. The technology to eliminate 90% of packaging waste existed 40 years ago. It was proven viable. But industry opposition kept it from ever becoming standard. These 10 discoveries share one disturbing pattern. Each posed a threat to powerful industries, and each was systematically suppressed through buyouts, regulations, propaganda, or destruction. Consider the world we could live in. Houses built in days, farms operating without chemicals, plastic waste eliminated, efficient electric transit, products designed to last, and packaging reused hundreds of times. The suppression has cost humanity trillions in wasted resources and uncounted environmental damage. We do not live in a world shaped by the best technology. We live in one shaped by the technology that threatens the fewest powerful interests. How many discoveries are being suppressed? Right now, how many innovations that could address climate change, pollution, and disease are locked away because they threaten the wrong industries? The real battle is not in laboratories. It is in regulatory agencies and legislatures where industries use power to ensure threatening technologies never reach the people who need them. If this opened your eyes, hit that subscribe button. The truth they do not want you to know is exactly what we cover on this channel.